Monday morning, about 10 o'clock, November the 11th, 2024. I'm looking at Jesse Burkett's remarkable career. 1890, 1905. 16 years, 338 career batting average. He's just come off two incredible years, 1895 and 1896, where he went back-to-back 400 batting average seasons. 405, 1895, and 410, 1896. This video, 1897 season. What does he do? 127 games, 517 at-bats, 129 runs scored. That becomes the sixth year in a row over 100 runs scored. Excellent percentage. 198 hits, just fell short of 200. He had 240 the year before, and the year before that, 225. So he's on a roll. 225, 240, and now 198 hits. 28 doubles, 7 triples, 2 homers, 60 RBIs, 28 stolen bases, and 76 walks. He bats .383. Not bad. 405, 410, and now .383. 468 on base, 476 slugging, gets 246 total bases. Jesse Burkett, he's having a remarkable string of seasons, starting with 1893. He goes 348, then he goes 358, 405, 410, 383. So I was curious. He's had two 200-hit seasons. Listen to this. 1895 and 1896, he went 225 in hits, then 240. That's 465 hits in 2 years. I asked myself the question, which baseball player in baseball history had the most hits 2 consecutive years? I looked it up. Number 1 on the list. You know who it is? Roger Hornsby. He had 250 hits, and then the next season, 235. That's 485 hits in 2 years. That is number 1 all time. Not bad. Number 2 on the list, Bill Terry. He had 254 hits, then he had 226. That's 480 in 2 years. He's number 2. Number 3, Ty Cobb, 474. He had 248, then he had 226. Number 4 on the list, George Sisler, 473 hits in 2 years, 257, then 216. Number 5, Ichiro Suzuki, 474. My mistake. Sisler's number 5. Suzuki's number 4, 262, then he had a 212. So he had 474, Suzuki. And then Sisler's number 5 with 473. My mistake. Number 6 on the list. Number 6 on the list. Then you get to Jesse Burkett's 465 hits, 240, and then 225. What do you think of that list? The most hits in 2 years. Rogers Hornsby, 485 hits in 2 years. Then I went to another stat. How about the most Take the player, his best three 200 hit seasons. Add that number up. Who's number one? Best player. The best 3 seasons of 200 or more hits for a player. Following me? You know who's number one? Ichiro Suzuki. He had 262 hits, then he had 242 hits and 238. Those are his top 3 200 hit seasons. That's a score of 742. He's number one. Ichiro Suzuki. 262 in hits, 242 another season, and 238. The best 3. Who's number 2? George Sisler. He had a 257, a 246, and a 224. That's 727. That's number 2. Ichiro Suzuki, 742, is number 1. Who's number 3? Rogers Hornsby. He had 250 hits one year, then 235, and then 227. That's 712. He's number 3. Number 4, Bill Terry. He had a 254, a 226, and a 225. That's 705. Then you have Ty Cobb and Chuck Klein are number 5, tied. 699 hits of their best 3 200 hit seasons. Cobb had a 248, a 226, and a 225. That's 699. Chuck Klein had a 250, a 226, and a 223. That's 699. Then you got Jesse Burkett, number 6. He had a 240, a 226, and a 225. Following me on all this? The trivia question is this. Which player, take his top 3 200 hit seasons, had the best score by adding the 3 best 200 hit seasons? And the answer is Ichiro Suzuki, number 1, George Sisler, number 2, Roger Hornsby, number 3, Bill Terry, number 4, Ty Cobb and Chuck Klein tied at number 5, and number 6, Jesse Burkett. What do you think of that? And then the other trivia I did in the last video, but I'll do it again, just for this video. How many players have back-to-back 400 batting seasons? There are 4 of them in baseball history that have back-to-back 400 batting average seasons. And which of these 4 players is ranked the best score of the 400 batting seasons by adding up their seasons together and then averaging it out? Okay, the 4 players, first you got Ed Delance, he did it. Then Ty Cobb did it, 2 in a row. Then Rogers Hornsby, and then, no. Ed Delance, number 1. Then you got Jesse Burkett, number 2. Ty Cobb, number 3, and Roger Hornsby, number 4. But who had the best back-to-back 400 batting seasons as far as adding up the score? Ty Cobb. He had a 419 and a 409. That's 828 total score. Divide that by 2. That's an average of 414 in 2-year period. Number 2 would be Rogers Hornsby. He had a 424 and a 403 back-to-back. So his score was 827. He averages 413 for a 2-year period. And you get Jesse Burkett, 405 and a 410. That's 815 divided by 2 is a 407 average. And then Ed Delante's 405 and 404, 809 score, 405 average. Following me there? And so the answer to the trivia question on how many players have back-to-back 400 batting seasons. And there are 4 of them. Ed Delonte was first to do it, then Jesse Burkett, Ty Cobb, and Rogers Hornsby. The trivia question, who had the best 200 hit seasons back to back? The answer is Ichiro Suzuki had a 474 hits in 2 years, which was 262 hits in 212. Number 2 on the list was Rogers Hornsby. No, my mistake. Let me get my facts straight. Okay. The best total number of hits in a 2-year period. 2 years. Rogers Hornsby is number 1, 485 hits in 2 years. And number 2 was Bill Terry. Number 3 was Ty Cobb. Number 4 was Ichiro Suzuki. Number 5 was George Sisler. And then number 6 was Jesse Burkett. And then if you take the best 3 200-hit seasons for a player in their career, who was number 1 as far as the most 200 hits combination? Ichiro Suzuki. That's where I got confused. Hornsby's number 1 on the 2-year period. As far as the best 3 200-hit seasons, you got to give it to Ichiro Suzuki's number 1. George Sisler's number 2. Rogers Hornsby's number 3. Bill Terry, number 4. Ty Cobb and Chuck Klein, number 5. And Jesse Burkett, number 6. You see, here's my main point by putting out all these stats. Do you see where Jesse Burkett is up there as far as the greatest players, greatest hitters of all time? You look at his back-to-back 400 batting seasons. He's in an elite company there, only 4 guys there. Then you look at the best 2 years of hits in a row, and he was number 6 right in there. And then you get the best 3 200-hit seasons for a player, and he's number 6 there. Now, one other question. Which players have 3 400 batting seasons? And the answer to that one is Ed Delonte, Ty Cobb, and Rogers Hornsby. Those are the only 3. They have 3 400 batting seasons. Hornsby could have had a 4th. He batted .397. And you know who else could have had a 4th? Ed Delonte. He batted a .397 too. Both of those guys could have been in the company of 4 400 batting seasons. But instead, they just have 3. That covers, this video covers 1897 for Jesse Burkett. Let's see what he does in 1898. Talk to you later. I'm out.